And now we come to you live from the InfoWars News Center, deep in the heart of Texas, now under FEMA Region 6 occupation. World government is openly being announced. Nations across the planet are struggling, from Australia to the UK to the US, to get out of it. We have a bunch of key guests and intel today. The 2016 campaign is on fire. Trump is coming out against crooked Hillary like never before. She is in political hot water. We've got Obama stumbling around, can't even find words to go after Trump. The enemy is off balance. I'm telling you, it's a spiritual tipping point moment. First, a John Bowne report that is key.
So many people around the world lack this freedom. We should never take that for granted.
The FBI will soon be legally reading anyone's emails without the disintegrating protection of the Fourth Amendment or the issuance of a warrant. Just for the record, the Fourth Amendment states, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." As it stands, in order for your emails to be searched, currently a FISA court order deemed essential to the protection of national security has to be authorized. However, the FBI can plunder your phone records with a national security letter. But after years of whittling down the Fourth Amendment in the name of the CIA-backed and globalist-engineered war on terror, the Fourth Amendment will soon be DOA. Zero Hedge reports the 2017 Intelligence Authorization Bill is used to fund the intelligence community, set policy, and authorize resources for intelligence purposes. The 2017 Intelligence Authorization Bill grants the FBI the authority to obtain Americans' email using only a national security letter, meaning it will now be able to access email without a court order. In 2010, the Electronic Frontier Foundation filed an amicus brief attached to a civil criminal suit in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. The appeals court ruled in the U.S. versus Warshak case that the government must have a search warrant before it can secretly seize and search emails stored by email service providers. Closely tracking arguments made by the EFF in its amicus brief, the court found that email users have the same reasonable expectation of privacy in their stored email as they do in their phone calls and postal mail. On Tuesday, May 24th, Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon said, "This bill takes a hatchet to important protections for Americans' liberty. This bill would mean more government surveillance of Americans, less due process, and less independent oversight of U.S. intelligence agencies. Worse, neither the intelligence agencies nor the bill's sponsors have shown any evidence that these changes would do anything to make Americans more secure. But the suck-ups inhabiting our nation's capital have other ideas."
But because we all rolled up our sleeves and worked together, the bill before us today is an exceptional work product, and I'm very proud to support it. The IAA also addresses key strategic questions that we have been asking over the course of the year. First, are we focusing too much on the threats of the day at the expense of the threats of tomorrow?
I'd also like to thank the staff on both sides for their hard work on this year's Intelligence Authorization Act, or the IAA. I also appreciate the opportunity to stand here in support of this year's bipartisan IAA. You know, we ask a lot of our intelligence community when it comes to collaboration. When they collaborate, they best keep us safe. And what we have done today is we are sending to the floor a bill that reflects our own collaboration and shows that what we expect of them, we can also deliver to the House floor.
2017 is shaping up to be the year Big Brother begins secretly hauling in the enemies of the emerging totalitarian state based on their private and once protected correspondences. Just another federal alphabet agency given, yet again, powers that don't exist under the American Constitution and Bill of Rights. John Bowne for InfoWars.
I tend to say this all the time when I start the broadcast, but man, is it true that global government is happening just like they said it would, with engineered crises, collapsing borders, disintegrating family, dissolving rights, imploding prosperity, metastasizing mental illness, rampaging wickedness and evil, with the world ruled by openly corrupt, slouching tyrants, drunk on the blood of the innocents. We have a planet with leadership that is asleep at the switch. They're busy stealing and robbing and engaging in every form of corruption you can imagine. And they're busy trying to keep the public dumbed down and distracted so they can stay in control. But they're not in control of themselves or the byproducts of this system they've established. It is incredible. Now, I'm going to get the clip because he gives like 2-hour-long speeches. But I was watching Fox News this morning while I was working out at about 9 o'clock. I worked out late today, and I was about to finish up, and they played a clip about a minute long of Trump. And if he has that attitude, and if he has that spirit, he will dominate this election and win for sure. And it was the same spirit of where he points to the sleaze ABC reporter, and he says, we've gotten the donations we said we got. We've given them. Here are the veterans groups. And you're a sleaze for implying we haven't done it when you know we've done it. And he's legitimately angry at these lying scum. Well, today, in the speech, and we've got parts of the speech up on Infowars.com, but it's not in those particular videos. He's talking about, she keeps lying about my foreign policy when you can go to my website and read my foreign policy or go see my speeches I've given, and they send out to millions of citizens emails, and the media puts out propaganda misrepresenting what I say and what I stand for. These people are crooked. These people are out of control. These people are corrupt. And these people have got to be defeated. And it's not just calling her crooked or, you know, little Rubio or whatever, little Marco or Lion Ted. He needs to say these are organized crime scum that have hijacked the country, that have sold our weapons to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, that have given our missile secrets to communist China, and that are preying on the American people and put Obamacare in over America to shut this country's economic structure down completely and to bankrupt the nation while fleecing the people. I mean, Trump needs to completely take the gloves off. Every time he does, he goes up in the polls. And I love what I see. It's already hardcore compared to all these milquetoast politicians and pundits. And he needs to shatter the illusion, because here's the big secret of politics. And there's many secrets, but this is the biggest, or maybe one of the top 2 or 3. You can debate it all day long. But the real zeitgeist of how we're being controlled is the control of the zeitgeist. They put out fake zeitgeist so that the average person in Europe or the United States, or anywhere in the world for this matter, sits there and reads the newspaper or surfs the internet or watches television and watches this ocean of political pundits that really don't disagree with each other, because they're within a small area of the spectrum. They're loyalist Republicans, they're loyalist Democrats, they're loyalist Tories, they're loyalist Labor, they're loyalist Social Democrats, they're loyalist German conservatives. At the end of the day, the leadership are all basically meeting in smoky rooms because it's good for business. It's good to control things. It's good for the business of crony capitalism, but not good for the people. And they've got things pretty much sewn up, they think, until there's a total paradigm shift and people get outside the box. So to quantify this, it's very, very simple, but also very, very complex at the same time. And you don't hear this talked about in politics. You don't read this in books. This is just my observation. And the fact that my observations over the years, because they are from outside the box, but from a historical perspective, become many times the major talking points a week later, a month later, a year later, a decade later in the political culture. What I say, what I do, the ideas that I espouse are a cobbling together of other political ideas and systems and historical thoughts and philosophy, but they are specifically a fresh look. Now, that doesn't say that I've got all the answers or that, boy, I'm a big wheel. No, it shows that their system is so fake and so based on keeping you within a fake synthetic debate where you never realize there's a whole world politically outside of that. And it's there to prop up that idea of the facade. And everybody's probably nodding their head going, yeah, tell us something we don't know. See, you inherently already know that. I know that. I'm just on the air saying things that are common sense, but in a world of universal deceit, to quote Eric Blair, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. And here's the big secret. The people on CNN, on MSNBC, on NPR, and Fox News to a certain extent, they know that they're in this good old boy club creating a facade. They're hunting us. They're part of the, quote, ruling class. They're part of the predator class. At least they delusionally think. It's like going duck hunting and throwing decoys out in the lake. Well, of course you know you're throwing decoys out so the dumb ducks think it's safe and come and land. And if a duck could talk and said, hey, you're setting me up, you're putting decoys out there, that's not very nice, the hunter'd say, well, yeah, stupid duck, that's what I do. I mean, they'll laugh at you. You talk to a news reporter high level, you talk to a banker, you talk to a globalist, and you say what you're doing is dehumanizing, what you're doing is enslaving, what you're doing creates a horrible world in the future. And they laugh at you and go, tell me something I don't know. You're never going to change it. Might as well join it and enjoy your life now. And it's that cynical attitude by the establishment is what ends up destroying our entire culture, our entire world. Because these people are walking dead. They know what's going on. They understand human nature, but they don't have that final piece to want to try to do the right thing and be honorable and build a larger continuum of humanity. But I'm digressing. I've got to get to the news. What I'm trying to quantify here is they deceive the public by getting the public to buy into the false system, even though some of the public is more sophisticated and understands that most of it's a complete fraud. Still, they sit up there and talk about, well, if she says this, she'll win, and if Trump says that, he'd win, to make you think that you win by comporting yourself into what the supposed polls or the supposed pundits say is a winning strategy. You've just given up your free will. You've just given up being original. You've just given up being outside the box. You've given up being an innovator, a trailblazer. You have, in a split second, comported yourself into their system, into their universe, into their little fake facsimile that's supposed to draw in everybody's attention, where the establishment sets the trends, and the establishment sets the agenda, and the establishment sets the fads, and the establishment decides the culture. And then we see the culture they're giving us, it's living death. And they go, well, of course we're giving you living death. We're turning you off. We're ending your life force. We're ending your self-sufficiency. We're ending your survival instinct. The world's ours. We're killing you. We don't give our kids iPads, Apple says. But we give money to LGBT, so it's okay that we have suicide nets and forced abortion and 17-hour workdays, and the Foxconn workers' children live in metal containers. It's all right because Al Gore's on the board and he talks with a lisp. And it's all right because he acts effeminate and Nelly. But not behind closed doors. No, no, no. That's not how Al talks behind closed doors. See, it's all a fraud. And I know you know that, but we have to have the understanding